Well, how is everybody doing? Glad to have you joining us again. It's another one of our Zoom happy hours. It's a Jack Daniels season ticket holder happy hour, and we're thrilled to connect with Sammy Blais, who happens to be up in Montreal, Vince Dunn, also north of the border there in Toronto, and a big thank you to our friends at Jack Daniels for sponsoring another happy hour. So I put the single barrel rye in a glass here, and stuff, by the way.
That's early for that.
This stuff is actually this is fantastic in an old fashioned as well and stuff. So I like to put I have my old I've got these molds for my big old kind of big ice cubes. Freeze them up, put them in bags, and then put it over a little bit of rock. So cheers to everybody.
Okay. Cheers.
On the happy hour there. So, fellas, first off, we've got some great questions from some season ticket holders. So thanks for helping us stay connected with our season ticket holders. We all know just how much they are the lifeblood of our organization. But first off, Sammy, let's just start with you. How are you doing? How are things in Montreal, and how are you getting by?
It's good. I just came back 3 weeks ago. I was in St. Louis for the most part after the season got suspended. So I'm just back home with I saw my family, and now I'm just in my condo in Montreal. So it's kind of weird times right now, but I'm doing fine. So everything's good.
Well, I think that picture on your wall behind you is fantastic. We will let you know if a train's coming so you can get out of the way.
Yeah, right? Please tell me, because I can't see if it's coming.
if we could just somehow graphic that in, that would just be awesome.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Vince Dunn is up there in Toronto. Vince, how are things there in the Mecca of Toronto?
Yeah, same thing here. It's pretty quiet. I've just been keeping to myself and just trying to stay mentally focused, hoping that the season's going to come back. So there's not much going on, just staying inside. And was at my family's house for the weekend, so it's nice to see them after my quarantine was done. And other than that, just been hanging out and just trying to stay active and figure out things to do to get my mind off this a little bit.
Yeah, I think people, it's a nice little reminder too, like I'm here in St. Louis, I'm from St. Louis. So, my whole family's here. You guys at 23 years of age, are living in St. Louis, but families are in Toronto and Montreal and other places. So I got to think when you finally made the decision to go back there, and we'll start with you, Sammy, it was kind of maybe a bit of relief to just see some of those familiar faces again through this.
Yeah, my family was happy that I was back, but in St. Louis, I was living with Dunn, so it was nice. My family knew I was safe back in St. Louis, so they were not too nervous, but they were for sure happy that I was back.
Yeah, same thing. I think me and Sammy were probably in St. Louis the longest out of everyone who was planning on leaving town. We didn't really think that this would go on for as long as it did, so we were just trying to wait it out. But things seemed to get a little bit worse at the time, so we ended up coming back. And like Sammy said, our families are happy to see us, but it's obviously just a weird time, especially if you have elder ones who maybe are a little bit more at risk for this thing. So you just got to be careful and keep in mind that even if you're seeing your friends or your younger family members, that you got to keep in mind the older ones.
Yeah, that is a terrific point. All right, you guys ready to field some questions from our season ticket holders?
Sure.
All right, let's start with this one. Deb Greeny, and I'm going to apologize to any season ticket holders right off the bat if I do mess up your name, because there's a couple. Well, at least there's now I'm looking down this list, and there's two of them that I probably need a pronunciation guide for. Dunn, Blais. I have that one pretty down pat. So Deb Greeny would like to know from either one of you, and Vince, we'll start with you. Who do you think has the best sense of humor on the team?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think Bozak, Steener, they seem to be the ones who pick on each other a little bit. Schwartzy's a little bit goofy in his own way. But I think just everyone in general, we all get along so well. So everyone's usually taking shots at each other. And, you just got to stay on your toes a little bit in the dressing room. You can't, expose anything or let anyone take a shot at you. But at the end of the day, no, we all get along pretty well. And, there's always jokes flying around.
Sammy?
Yeah, I'd say Schwartz. He likes to have fun and stuff, but when it's time to be serious and stuff, I would say that everyone is trying to stay as much focus as we can. But I would say Schwartz, he's fun to have around for sure.
All right. Josh Lang once says this. First off, thank you for bringing the cup to St. Louis and all of the hard work. Second, are the two of them, you are the two of the more well-rounded players on the ice, both physical with good eyes, hands, and solid on your skates. This guy, Josh must be a scout. For young fans and old fans who have young fans as kids, what type of training has been the most important to you?
I would say for me, it's my skating ability. Like I try to work on my explosion in the summer and stuff, and I'd say more lower body stuff for me, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'd agree with Sammy on that one. Obviously, not being the biggest guy on the ice at all times. I just try to work on my skating, work on my lower body strength, just so I can hold up bigger guys on the ice. And I think I learned from Sammy a little bit how to be more physical, and watching him being a goal scorer and a point producer in junior, and then coming up in a pro, adapting to the NHL, playing a more physical role is kind of cool to see, and that's something I kind of wanted to model my game a little bit after.
All right, Brian Bukhari and Bayan Bukhari. There's a chance I just butchered both of your names, and I apologize for that, first and last. Who is the most played artist on your playlist? You know what? Actually,
it's probably the same for both of us.
Yeah, we listen to the same song, so I'd say Travis Scott. Yeah, we like Travis Scott a lot.
All right. See, I'm glad you said it. I was going to say the bigger question might be, would I recognize who that artist is?
You listen to it or no?
In this case, I did. Who? Okay. Let's rephrase that one then. So that's the one on there. Who's the guilty pleasure listen for you? Like who's one that you like kind of go, okay, I really like listening to this one, but like Vince, you go, I really like listening to this, but I don't want Sammy to know I like it.
What do you think?
I mean, he's not a big country guy, but I like country. So sometimes I put country, he's a little mad, but I think we like the same type of music, I'd say. So.
What about you, Vince?
Yeah, sometimes I catch myself singing the country songs, and I always tell Sammy to shut it off. So sometimes maybe when I'm by myself, I catch me singing along to a couple of country tunes, and I know the boys throw on a couple in the dressing room, and I catch myself singing in there as well. So probably some sort of country song that I'm not usually listening to.
So you don't want to kind of be caught knowing all the words to Shania Twain's I Feel Like a Woman.
No, that's one that you got to know the words to and you can sing. That one. That's
sing that one.
Yeah, that one can slide.
He loves that one.
All right, here's a question. Julie Ladd, this is a good question here. What are the questions the players ask the refs and the linesmen on the ice? Any funny stories about questions or answers? That's a great question.
Well, our coaches always told us not to talk to the refs, so I try to stay away from them. But when I talk to them, it's always nice and just nice to talk to them. And the coaches just tells us to stay away from them. So
yeah, I think
that's about it.
It's just a fast-paced game, so sometimes it's emotional, and a lot of the time it's just positive and reassuring what was going on or what they saw on a call, maybe linesmen or referees. But one funny one, kind of embarrassing on my part, I high stick the puck and it happened so fast I didn't even realize it, and I got like really mad at the linesman and said a few things I probably shouldn't have, and then I went back and watched it with Panger, and it was definitely a high stick and definitely my fault. So I just had to go back and apologize, but things were all good. And I think refs and linesmen are pretty good at understanding that, sometimes it's just heat of the moment.
Yeah, some fans may not know this, but, with Darren Panger, sometimes the national guy is between the bench. If you end up on that end of the bench, every now and then you can catch a glimpse of a replay on that aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Has one of the refs ever apologized to you?
Sometimes, yeah, but it happens. It happened before, but like they say sorry, but like they make mistakes, so it's all good after.
Yeah, it's hard for them to catch everything, and like Sammy said, they make mistakes and stuff happens, and you just move on from it.
You can really see from up in the up high guys in the broadcast booth, and knowing a couple of the refs a little bit too. But the officials that are communicative with you guys on the ice, the ones that at least seem to have the patience to listen. Now they may get fed up with listening, but at least they listen initially. Versus the ones that skate away. There seems to just be a different rapport on the ice with those guys, and I just kind of feel watching it that there's a totally different level of respect when that kind of understanding is there.
Yeah, for sure. Like if the referees respects you, I'm gonna respect them back for sure.
All right, let's. Okay, Lois Schmidt. I like easy names like that. Lois Schmidt. What do you both miss from your hometown that you don't have here in St. Louis?
Oh, I know this answer.
Wait. Hang on a second. Let me just.
I don't
let's
think
have
it's
a little
going to
more
be the
fun
one that
with
you
it.
expect, Dunn.
Okay, Vince, can you answer this one for Sammy?
I'm going to answer for both of us.
Okay.
For any Canadian, really. Probably a poutine.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I was going to say that, to be honest.
Nobody's even really heard of it in St. Louis.
We should start one in St. Louis. Maybe
I bet
maybe
your
it would be good.
poutineery would be huge down here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with barbecue food.
It's the cheese curd. It's the cheese curd that are really good back in Canada.
Yeah, especially
really
where
good.
Sammy's from.
Yeah.
So, folks, look it up. Poutine, basically gravy over French fries with cheese curds.
Really good.
Yep.
I still haven't had one.
Never?
No, like since I've been home from the.
Oh, since you've been home. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's not that big of it. It's not like a really big thing in Toronto, right?
Well, we joke around with Panger all the
Yeah.
time about opening Panger's Poutineery.
We should.
Wow.
Imagine that in a food truck. That'd be pretty good too.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what most of them are.
For sure.
Where I'm
All
from,
right,
it's just like little trucks.
Autumn Long would like to know a little bit about you two as roommates. I don't think many people, some of the younger folks, are not going to say who's Felix, who understand when I ask who's Felix and who's Oscar from the old Odd Couple. But they do say who is the messier roommate, who is the louder roommate.
I'll let Sammy answer.
I'd say that we're both pretty clean, but I'd say I'm the louder of both of us.
Who is more
sometime,
likely to leave cereal bits in the sink without washing it down the drain? Okay.
Yeah, but like we always clean for each other, so it's never like it's never
everything's usually everything's usually shared. Grocery shopping, cleaning, cooking, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you rotate days of cooking? Like I cook tonight, you cook tomorrow night, kind of thing?
No, we just
do it together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. What's your cooking specialty there, Sammy? If you got to cook a dinner for a blindfolded Vince Dunn.
Probably like chicken with mushroom and rice.
Yeah.
We like that a lot.
Okay, Vince, what are you making?
Oh man. When it started to get nice out towards
a lot of barbecue.
Before we left, I was barbecuing a lot. Sammy was liking that, so Sammy makes good burgers too. I mean, we're pretty good with everything. We like everything, so
Nice.
Whatever we feel like, it's pretty easy to make.
All right. Okay, I guess we'll stick along those lines. Tracy Timmons would like to know what's your favorite restaurant in St. Louis?
I love Napoli. Yeah, I'd say that Napoli's my favorite one.
I would say Napoli or Palmanos. Both are really good, just a little bit of a different vibe. Palmanos is pretty quiet, so sometimes it's nice to just go there with your family and keep to yourself.
In the summer,
Napoli
is really nice.
Yeah, for the patio. So just depends what kind of vibe you're feeling out.
Perfect. Justin Gray, have you been training to be ready to defend the cup during this pandemic?
Well, like it's close, so we try to stay active as most as we can, but been doing a lot of rollerblading, a lot of like cardio and stuff, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen with this season, like you said.
Yeah, same with Sammy. We bought rollerblades when we were in St. Louis, and that was fun to just kind of get that feeling of skating again and doing your workouts at home as much as you can with with whatever equipment you can find.
So I watched the video that the team put out with Jordan Bennington having a chat with Joe Buck and John Hamm, which was actually, I mean, it was really good. If fans haven't seen it, it's worth looking at and stuff. But he had a Peloton sitting behind him. Either one of you two splurge on a Peloton or a bike for the house?
No, we didn't.
Nope.
We thought about it though, but we like
rollerblades and get outside. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I do it myself. All right, we're here on our season ticket holder chat. As the Blues always value their season ticket holders. It's brought to you by Jack Daniels. Perfect in a glass, neat on the rocks, or throw it in a cocktail if you'd like. But our thanks to Jack Daniels for helping us bring the players from wherever they are closer to you and connecting with our great season ticket holders through this pandemic. A handful more questions here for you, fellas. Joseph Vicky. Okay. You know what? I just want, when I look up a name and I got it on the list and it's Joseph Vicky, I had to make sure the column I had the last name and the first name set right, to make sure it wasn't Vicky Joseph. But no, it is Joseph Vicky is the name here. All right. And they said, what was your first thought when you realized you won the cup?
I think it was just like a dream come true. Like when you're young, you always like dream about being that guy that raised the cup. And I've been a huge hockey fan my whole life. So I'd say it was a dream come true, and all the work we all did. It was really like one of the best moments of my life for sure.
Yeah, I think just it was kind of a blackout moment for me. You obviously dream about it, and you wake up in the morning and you try not to think about it too much, and then it happens, and it's just a big relief to finally win something, especially with the team that we had, and all the doubts that people had on us during the season. It was really cool to feel like you really accomplished something, and just waiting to see my family walk out on the ice. That was probably the biggest thing for me, and I'm sure it was for Sammy. It means just as much to them watching us ever since we were little, and all the work that they put in for us too. You guys woke up twice. So there was Game 6 where there was a chance to close it out, and then Game 7. Did you find Game 7 at all easier to deal with, having already gone through a day where you woke up with that scenario like you did in Game 6?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were really good on the road last year, and just being at the hotel with the guys, and we kind of knew that we had a chance. We had a chance to win, and I think the when it was the game day of that Game 7, I think all the guys were pretty confident in the room, and just before the game, and the guys were not too nervous. We were just having our fun like we always do before games, and I think it was just it had to happen, and we won. So we won. So it was great.
Yeah, it was just a total different vibe in the room. Game 6, like, we knew we could win, but it was almost like we already felt like we won, or it was just something different in the room. And then you go into Game 7, and it's almost like we knew we were going to win that game. Like there was no way we were going to let it slip for all that we put into the season. And like Sammy said, we were so good on the road, and that definitely helped our confidence going in. And just the vibes in the room, it was calm. Everyone was confident, and even all the way up to coaching, they had a good mindset coming in, just like the players had to. And as a whole, we just kind of went in and had fun with it, and played the best to our ability. And yeah, it was pretty cool to just get ready for that game. It was like no other game I've ever been a part of, and just the vibes in the room, and obviously the butterflies and the nerves, but also the confidence rolling into that game. There's definitely no feeling like that.
All right. Lawrence Baden has this question. We'll stick with the cup here. My wife and I were so impressed you used your day with the cup to visit children in the hospital. When you've probably dreamed your whole life about that day, how do you decide how you are going to spend it? And is there anything now you wish you would have done with it?
For me, I think it was important to bring it back to my hometown because everyone always supported me from there, and so I just did a little parade at home, and I had some picture with all the people from my hometown, and after that, it was just for me, for my family, and my friends at a house, and we just had fun, and we just had a big party there with the cup and stuff. So for me, it was about families and friends, and that's what I did.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely hard to plan everything into one day. There's so many things I wanted to do, and but there's definitely nothing that I would have changed about it. I had a great time with my family in the morning for the first half of the day, and then brought it around to the community and hospitals to, just try to make a little difference in people's lives that maybe isn't going the way that they hoped it would. So, it's definitely tough for me. It was a lot to plan, and there was a lot of people that helped me plan the day, and there's nothing I definitely would have changed about it. And obviously you can have your parties and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think it's just about family and being around people that really appreciate it, and being around people that really helped you get to where you are today.
Amy Twitchell would like to know what's your favorite road city.
For me, I'm from Montreal, so it's always nice to come back here and play in front of my families and friends, and it's always a special game. I was a big Montreal Canadian fan when I was growing up, so when I go back, it's always nice.
Yeah, same thing for me. Toronto's always one of the better cities to come play in, and being from here and watching the Leafs play, it's pretty cool to step on that ice and be where you watch guys like Steiner play when you're younger. It's just pretty cool to kind of be in that moment and be playing with guys that you idolized when you were younger.
You two being from, and the only reason I say arguably here is because somebody may think, the history of Detroit or Chicago or Boston, but you two are from basically the two most historical hockey crazed cities in the world. When you describe the St. Louis hockey fans to people back there, how do you describe it? Do you tell them that this town is nuts for its hockey?
I mean, Montreal is really they love their team, but when they like right now they're not playing really good, or they're not having good seasons, so fans are getting mad and stuff. But I think in St. Louis, fans have been there for us the whole time, and last year when it was not going really well, I think they stayed the best fans in the league, and they helped us to win the cup.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole different atmosphere in St. Louis. To be honest, playing in Toronto isn't one of the funnest rinks to play in. I think just being from here and you appreciate it that much more. But the crowd compared to St. Louis, there's nothing that really compares to that. I know hearing from other teams coming into place to play us, they're intimidated by the crowd, and the crowd's definitely to your advantage if you're playing there. So I think the city's done a great job with all their sports teams, even the Cardinals, and they were pretty disappointed when the Rams left. I know that from other people, but yeah, just the whole fan support is definitely different, especially for an American city. No one really knows how much they do really love sports in St. Louis.
Well, Ron Porter asked this question, I guess, along those lines. Or what were your thoughts when you turned the corner onto Market Street in that parade and saw the number of people?
It was actually one of the best days of my life. I think it was just it was a crazy day, and I think I would redo it every day if I had the chance to.
Yeah, from what I remember, I'm just kidding. No, like Sammy said, I think that was probably one of the best days of the whole, celebration. But just seeing all the fans, some crying, so many smiles, and everyone just really happy for us and for themselves. They've waited a long time, so I can't even imagine the feeling going through them. And yeah, it was cool to see when you turn that corner how far down it really went, and
Yeah.
There was just no way to prepare for that. It was pretty cool.
Well, I'll share this story. I don't know how many season ticket holders know that I've told this story at some banquets over the last year that I've emceed or a couple different radio shows. But, you know, the 2 days between when they won the cup and then they get the parade for that Saturday and they're planning it and we're sitting in a planning session. Okay, how are we going to do the stage show once we get all you guys down to the stage, which took like 2 hours longer than was anticipated just for the parade to finish to get down there. Well, Doug Armstrong had come in and kind of seeing what the Washington Capitals had done, you know, a little while before and wanting to just make sure the players are presented in the right light, which you respect and understand completely. Doug comes in the room. He says, okay, look, when we get on the stage, don't interview anybody that's drunk. And I started laughing. And
Who do you look at then?
How in the hell am I going to know which one is which? Like, I'm not even – like, I have no well, I guess we're going to give this the best shot. And then obviously it all worked out and it went flow. But actually it's kind of one of my funniest things kind of from behind the scenes was don't interview anybody that's drunk. And I'm going, oh, well, this is going to be real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you guys, you really have fun and everybody talks about this team being so tight. I got asked a question this morning on a radio show that said, have you thought about what have you thought about what it'd be like to call a game in an arena if no fans are in there? And the first thing that just comes to my mind, because it would happen a couple times in the minor leagues where the arenas are small and sometimes on a Tuesday night there weren't many people in there. And if you yell, he shoots, he scores, I mean, players on the ice could hear you. You know, so one of the things I started thinking, I'm like, well, the players on the bench are going to be able to hear me. I mean, even if we're way up and on the other side, players are going to hear you from time to time. I actually thought it would, if they end up doing this to get games on, to bring the entertainment through the radio, through the TV, I thought it actually just might make sense to even help the players out to pump some kind of crowd noise into the arena. Maybe not at an over loud decibel, but just to give it some kind of feel. Have you guys thought about anything like that?
Not really. Like, I think it would be pretty hard to be playing without any fans, but we'll see what happens. But like I said, like when you play in St. Louis and like the fans are like loud like that, it's just puts you into the game and just wants you to play hard for them. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, but it would be pretty hard playing without no fans.
Yeah, especially being the home team, like Sammy said, like the St. Louis crowd is unbelievable, and you definitely feed off them, even when things aren't going well on the ice for the team. You know, you hear getting quiet. That's when, you know, everyone should really dig deep and work a little harder and fix whatever's not going right on the ice if you can. But it would definitely be pretty weird to play with no fans. It's something that even if you're the away team, you can kind of rebel and feed off the opposing fans. And, you know, just yelling at each other on the ice, I'm sure even the few people that are going to be in the rink are going to hear that and probably not going to hear everything that they want to hear sometimes. But it would just be a total different vibe. And but at the end of the day, it's whatever we got to do to come back and play. But best case scenario would be packing the rinks again.
All right, let's finish our Jack Daniel's season ticket holder happy hour with some roommate questions here, since you two are roommates. Now, the way this will work is, Vince, you're answering for Sammy and vice versa. So when I ask the question, you can give a yes or no or a small description on just what about your roommate, okay? And then if the other guy really wants to dispute it. So, Sammy, is Vince Dunn a make your bed every day or every now and then make your bed kind of guy?
No, he never makes his bed, only when his mom's in town.
Still trying to fool mom, are you, Vince? All right, Vince,
Yeah.
what about me?
Sammy?
Yep.
Does he make his bed?
Yep.
He literally sleeps with one bed sheet. Like literally one little sheet. And it's usually folded up or somewhere on his bed. You can barely see the thing. So there's not much to make on his bed.
So I never make it.
Yeah, so he's not usually making his bed.
Vince, how are Sammy's skills with doing laundry?
Well, he's taken a pretty big jump in his fashion. I think he's buying some pretty nice clothes now. He used to wear a lot of Lululemon, which is pretty easy to wash, but buying the nicer clothes that need to be cared for in the laundry. He's definitely doing fine now, and I think it's just a little bit of a change. And we usually do our own laundry, and he's usually looking pretty good at all times. So I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, I'd say the same for Dunner. Like, takes care of his stuff, and I would say pretty good skills.
Sammy, has Vince ever looked at you and said, "Does this tie go with this shirt?"
Yeah, we always ask each other if it looks good on us. So it's nice to have a roommate for that reason, for sure.
I think.
Go ahead, Vince.
I was just gonna say, I think Sammy's definitely got me on the suit game. He's definitely up his level, and got a couple funky colors this year, so he's looking pretty good.
All right.
Thanks.
Have either one of you ever brought in some kind of wall art or a picture, and the other one said, "No, we're not putting that up"?
No, never.
No,
we don't have anything in our house.
Nothing on the
Just
wall?
a Tatum jersey.
Yeah, just a Tatum jersey. Tatum. Yeah.
Oh, Tatum. Do you know him at all? Have you met him? And
no, not really.
Just like seeing him around a couple times. Not really one to like go bother someone, and unless there was something that would be discussed. So, yeah.
All right, Sammy. Does Vince load his dishes in the dishwasher?
Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. So that's when I come and do it for him.
Vince, is Sammy the kind to rinse the dishes before he puts them in the dishwasher?
He always puts his dishes in the dishwasher, but I always get mad at him when he cooks his breakfast and he doesn't put his pan back in the cupboard. But that's the only thing, sometimes that we bicker about.
That's all right. Do you both watch the same TV shows?
Well, I mean, when we go downstairs in our basement, we're gonna start a show, and then Dunner falls asleep after one episode. So, so I always finish. I'm the only one watching the show, and then he's mad at me because I'm further than him in the show. So, yeah, I'd say that we try to listen to the same show, but it's never easy with Dunner.
When you that didn't seem fair, did it? You need your nap, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's just so comfy downstairs too. It's like a theater, and you're just laying down, and sometimes
it's really comfy,
it's just can't stay up.
It's awesome catching up with you guys. You can definitely tell. Roommates are great. I still stay in touch with my college roommates too. Like it's awesome. So I'm glad you guys do it. I'm going to give you, as we end our Jack Daniel's season ticket holder, I'm going to give you a little fun fun tidbit. So as you continue to do this, if you get an ice mold, all right, and you know how cool, like if you're serving a drink to somebody that comes over to your house, and you could just serve, you could get one of the big ice cube trays, or like in this case it's just one of the rubber molds filled through the top, and you just get the nice ice ball for your cocktail or whatever. But it's so much cooler, right? If it's a completely clear, almost like the air is blown out of it, right? Just looks better. So I learned during this pandemic that if you take like an ice mold or your ice tray and you put it in a cooler for your freezer, all right, but you poke a hole in like the bottom of it so the water kind of flows out and then around, it actually helps get the air out so it'll actually freeze completely clear.
Really?
Yeah. So if you
is the taste better with that or what?
No, it's just ice. I don't think it really impacts the taste. But it just looks nicer. Like when you're serving drinks, it looks just that more sophisticated, right? When you get served with a completely clear ice cube. So submerge it in water where the water kind of comes through and out the top, so the air has a place to escape, and it'll freeze in a completely clear mold. Here's a little bartending tip. I don't have many of them, but that's one I got. Normally, I just drink it and go. But hey, listen, big thanks to Jack Daniels for bringing us another Blue Season Ticket Holder happy hour. Cheers to all the fans out there. Thank you so much for being a part of this organization, having patience. And Sammy, Vince, listen, I've said this to a couple of the other guys. I know this has just been as hard on you guys as it is on anybody else, but it does mean a lot to our fans just to have a chance to connect with you, hear you. Laugh with you over, who's falling asleep during what TV show or whatever it may be. So thanks for taking a few minutes and sharing your lives with us. And can't wait to get you guys back into town. And I don't care, man. If it's July or August, I'll take summer hockey just so long we get some back. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
All right, boys. Thanks so much. Be safe, and we'll see you back in town real soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
You got it, guys.
Bye.